it is you want to do, go for it.
Dream is hard. If you don't live your dream, it's still hard. You might as well pick the harder with the best benefit.
You don't have to see the whole staircase, just a step.
Nothing worth having is going to come easy.
From my tears came my treasure, which is the single wife.
Your setbacks are really a setup for something else.
Hi guys, what's going on? It's your girl Isis and welcome to another episode of Conversations. Alright guys, today we are sitting down with Koereyelle. She is the founder and creator of Single Wives Club, and we're going to sit down today and just have good conversation, find out what drives her to create such an organization and what being a single wife is all about. How you doing today?
I am awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, glad to have you here. So first off, tell everybody a little something about yourself.
Well, I am Koereyelle Dubose. As you mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of the Single Wives Club. I have a background in education. I love to teach. That is definitely my passion. And I really just have a passion for bringing together women, bringing together like-minded, positive women. And that's the foundation of everything that I do.
And I love that because that is the foundation of IHearThatGirl.com. So first, let's just jump in and talk about your upbringing, your past and experiences that could have attributed to what spurred you to create Single Wives Club.
So Single Wives Club was definitely created out of personal need. This wasn't, I wish I could say I sat down and I came up with this grand scheme, this business idea, but it wasn't. It was out of personal need. I was in an engagement that turned out to be an abusive relationship, and I really just found myself at a crossroads. And I had to figure out, if I go A and choose him, then my life is going to be filled with abuse, it's going to be filled with misery, it's going to be filled with pain. If I choose B and choose myself, and deal with the shame and the embarrassment of ending the engagement, then I would free myself. I would free myself from the situation, and that's obviously what I decided to do. But I was broken. I was not a complete person anymore because I had spent so much time preparing to be this wife. And so when it ended, it's like, okay, now what? Now you're back alone, you're back starting over, you're back, and it just knocked me down a square. And I really wanted to figure out, what did I do to contribute to this relationship? What could I have done differently? What will I do differently the next time? And what skills do I need to have so that I will be ready when the right person comes along? And so from there, I really just started basic. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I started trying to learn new recipes. I was like, okay, I got to start over. I got to get ready. I'm going to learn how to cook some more things. And so I started having these cooking parties. And so basically it was like potlucks. Like me and my girlfriends, they came over to my house and I would have themes. We had Asian night, we had soul food night, and we were basically trying to teach each other recipes. And from there, the conversations got going. What other skills do we need to have? What other things do we need to work on? What other ways can we improve? And, once it hit social media, it pretty much became what it is today, and I had to start doing things publicly, and that's how it formed into a business that it is today.
Okay, and in this, first of all, explain what a single wife is.
So a single wife is a single woman who's preparing to become a wife. She's enjoying her single life while preparing to become a happy wife.
Okay, and what are some of the ways that you've discovered are great ways to prepare for being a wife?
Well, definitely the number one thing is to learn yourself. Self-awareness is vital in anything that you do. You have to know your strengths. You have to know, I call it your assets and your liabilities. What are you bringing to the table? What will you possibly be taking away from someone else? What do you need to work on, and how can you strengthen your strengths and get rid of those weaknesses so that you will be 100% a complete person? And that is the foundation of anything, is being complete within yourself and knowing yourself and loving yourself. And that will stop you from accepting things that you don't need to accept, from doing things out of desperation that you don't need to do, which to me is one of those things that single women, we kind of get lost in, is that we don't know ourselves, we don't know our worth, we don't know our value, and so we end up accepting a whole bunch of stuff and putting up with a whole lot of stuff that we just don't need to. And so with the Single Wives Club, it's all about self-awareness, self-empowerment, and self-development. So getting yourself together and focusing on yourself so that you can attract better people into your life.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because I know it was some people probably watching, it was like, I'm going to learn how to cook, I'm going to get a man tomorrow.
Yeah, and no.
It's so much more than that, y'all, because I can't cook, but I had a man.
Look.
Yes, it is important that we teach our young ladies about knowing themselves. You know, one thing I've noticed is, especially when I was going through my divorce, is that I had to look at myself and say, at first, you know, it was easy to point the finger at him and say, okay, you know, he did this, but then I sat down and took the time to actually look at myself and say, okay, what did you do? You know, how was your thinking process in this marriage? And that allowed me to, like you said, gain some skills to recognize and appreciate when I do move into that next level. So how important do you think that is for people to be honest with themselves, especially our ladies, be honest with yourself and really take a look in the mirror?
That is the most important thing that you can do, that you have to do. And the thing is, if you choose today to hide it, 10 years from now, you're still going to have those same issues, and eventually you have to face it. And that is what I learned, and that is what my members learn. You know, that is like the core of all that we do, is peeling back those layers, figuring out even your childhood experiences, your family life, your parents' marriage, or, you know, the lack thereof, but figuring out where your issues came from, where your thought process is, where your mindset comes from, and figuring out how you can change it, how you can make it into what it needs to be for the next step in your life. Because we can't keep making excuses. You know, I would love to say, well, my mama did this and my dad. I can't live on that excuse. You know, I have to say, okay, this is what happened, this is where I'm at now, this is where I want to be in the future, and this is how I can connect the dots. And so that is what the Single Wives Club is, connecting those dots. Because there's not a woman around, I don't care how old, how young, how big, how small, whoever you are, you want to be in a happy, healthy relationship. We're humans. We need each other. You know, we need love to survive. And so to say that you don't want that is just putting it off. You know, once you can say, okay, this is what I want and this is what I'm willing to get there, then you're one step closer to getting what you want. And so very important.
Okay, and tell us about the process of Single Wives Club. Like, if someone were to sign up for the program, what exactly does it mean? Does it become a lifestyle? Does it become just courses that I take? What is it that they get as becoming a member of the Single Wives Club?
So our membership, like you mentioned earlier, I'm not a matchmaker, I'm not a dating agency. You know, this is not a get in here, learn this stuff and get a man. It's not that. I don't have a magic trick of any of that. It's self-development, it's self-empowerment, and it's awareness. It's learning yourself. So every month we have personal development challenges. So it could be fitness, it could be wellness, it could be a finance challenge, it could be learning your love language. We did one where we wrote a letter to our future husbands, and they love that, just because it's doing those things that we're not taught. It's learning those emotions about ourselves that we don't know are in there. And so the challenges really help you to learn about yourself. And then we also have like a big sister organization called the Wives Society, which is a group of happy wives. And so they are giving us that advice and that insight, those things they wish they would have known when they got married. You know, those things that they have taken 10 years to figure out, that they can teach us, that we can start with. You know, we got a head start because we have 150 years combined within these wives, and they're happily married. You know, these are women who are saying, it's possible, I love my man, I got to get home. You know, because we don't know that those examples are out there. We're not seeing them. Our friends, our parents might not have that experience. And so having that positive image of what a wife really is definitely priceless. So each month they mentor us, and then we have a reading club where we are reading success books, we're reading self-help, self-development, again to encourage self-awareness. And so with our membership, it is a lifestyle. We call it living the wife life, and that's welcoming opportunities for growth and self-development, investing in yourself, focusing on the positive, and then empowering and encouraging one another. And so it's all about, you know, coming together and saying, we're single women. We know that we're single. We know we don't want to be single, and this is the work that we're willing to put in to fix ourselves so that we're prepared for the next, the right person, I'll say. Not just the next, but the right man.
Sounds good. Sounds like just really having a place or a basis of having a great support group around you, especially with the married women. Here's a question. How important do you think it is for married women to be honest about the reality of marriage? Because sometimes I think people don't understand exactly what all goes into marriage. So it's our girls, we bring them up with this false sense of, you know, that's the prince and then happily ever after, and they're not prepared.
All the work in between.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not prepared to go through the work And so how important do you think that is, and what is it that you guys bring to the table that gives that reality?
You know what? That is one thing that I have to say, hands down, that's one of the best parts of our mentoring, is that these are real wives who are authentic and who tell us about the fights and the arguments and the day-to-day. One of our wives, the director of our mentoring program, she does weekly business meetings with her husband. That one thing alone is like priceless, and something that I would have never thought of. My mom wasn't, those type of real, this is what we did this morning. This is how we've had to make it work. This is how I was being selfish and how I had to, which of course, like you said, we have that fairy tale. He's going to fly in, swoop us up, we're going to live happily ever after with the white picket fence and the kids and the dog, and that is just not reality. And that is one of the first things that they always say, is that if marriage is not for the weak-hearted. If you're not willing to work, you don't need to get married, because it's not easy, and it is, it's like a job. It's a career that you are preparing for, and you would never walk into, an interview and not be prepared. You would never not research the job that you are going after. You would never not know the skills that you need to have to even get this job. So why would you do that with marriage? Why would you think it's just, all right, I got the job now, here I am, I'm gonna get a raise in 6 months and I'm gonna get, and that's just not reality. And so they are providing realistic expectations, but from a positive perspective. So it's not the complaining, well, I had to do this and I had to do that, but this is the sacrifice. These are the benefits. I have a partner at home, he has my back, I have his, and those are the types of conversations that we're having, uncovering that stuff that we just don't see. Because like you said, it's not, it's not the fairy tale that we think that we're getting ourselves into. So having that realistic perspective is definitely important.
You ready? All right, Koereyelle, so what else do you have coming up? What other projects intertwined with Single Wives Club do you have coming up?
Well, I'm very, very excited about Single Wives Weekend. This is our second annual Women's Empowerment Weekend, and it's really education, empowerment, and entertainment. It's going to be tons and tons of fun, and it's 4 events in 3 days, so we are really packing it in, giving you a lot in one weekend. But it's really a place to come and feel good, to learn, get some good ideas, learn from wives. We end the weekend with a big hat brunch that's hosted by our wives, and it's all about the good, the bad, and the ugly of marriage and the business of being a wife. And so tickets are available right now at thesinglewivesclub.com. It's a great opportunity for small business owners as well, vendor and sponsorship opportunities, and all of those details are online at thesinglewivesclub.com.
Good things coming from you. I just want to say thank you for joining us on the show and sharing that information. Like I said earlier, this is all about showing images, female images, for our viewers that look like us.
Absolutely.
And say, like she said, I was in a relationship, a broken engagement, but this is what came out of it.
Wives is what came out of it. I don't have any regrets. I don't wish any bad on him. I used it as the biggest motivation that I possibly could to say I can do anything. I can accomplish anything, whatever I put my mind to. I'm going to survive, I'm going to make it through, and that is what that experience taught me. And from my tears came my treasure, which is the Single Wives Club, so I would not trade it for the world.
And she summed it up perfectly. I don't even have to ask anymore. Awesome stuff. All right, guys, it is Conversations with your girl, Koereyelle Dubose. And thank you so much for joining us on the show. You guys stay tuned. We have so much more in store for you on IHearThatGirl.com. It's your girl, Isis, live from Chef Rob's Upscale Cafe. We'll see you. On the next Conversations, we chat with Food Network TV's America's Best Cook contestant and chef, Nikki Bell.
Don't look to other people to support you or feel as though, to give you that boost. You gotta be your own inspiration.